Hey everybody, thank you for checking out my day 3 of E3 coverage. The main conferences are all over. Now it's mainly just about the games, gameplay, trailers, and a few new game announcements. They did hold a 3DS press conference today for 1 hour on e3.nintendo.com, which I will touch on that too. But first I'm just going to get started by rattling off some of the cool game info that they talked about today. There was a sort of an interesting Resident Evil 6 announcement today. It's a little bit confusing, so bear with me. When you're playing the game, any of the 3 main sections of the game you're playing, you're always going to be playing basically with 2 characters. They're always teamed up. Now, playing online, though, they mentioned that your 2 characters you're playing as, either just you and a computer player, you and a friend or whatever, you will have story crossings with 2 other characters from the other parts of the story. So basically making the possibility of running into 2 other live people playing the game, which then you could technically do 4-player co-op through parts of the game. That was literally all that I found out about it. They didn't describe if it's, how many parts of the game are like that, if it's just little team-up parts, how you connect with the other players, if they're real human players playing online at those parts. They didn't say. But just sort of interesting for the chance to at least even, come across other human contact while just playing the game sort of unexpectedly. They did show some gameplay footage of Jake and Sherry being chased by a big, large, mechanical-looking nemesis creature. They showed him with weird spikes and needles coming out of his arm, and they're robotic and sort of injecting into some of the soldiers. Very different from just the fact that if they're now actually going mechanical with their sort of mutations, that's another step, even farther into, farther away from the normal zombies that were in the original Resident Evil. But I thought that was a pretty different, pretty interesting, and the scene showed the big creature chasing them over like a rooftop, and then they jumped in through a window. Obviously very action-packed like Resident Evil games have been over the last couple years, but it did look very pleasing to the eye, at least. There's a really short trailer online for Fist of the North Star Kin's Rage 2. That's just going to be the working title for it. But it's just real quick, little clippets and snippets and some text, not really any gameplay or anything, just basically announcing, hey, this is a game that is coming out. But I didn't even know they were going to make a part 2. I own part 1, I played part 1, but I didn't definitely think that it even sold good enough to, warrant a part 2. But that's cool, I will definitely check that when that comes out. They have, basically, this wasn't just announced, today or anything, but they sort of fleshed out what was going to be in the Doom 3 BFG edition. It's going to be coming to PC, PS3, and 360. It's going to have the Doom 1 and Doom 2 that were released on the Xbox Live Arcade, like the remastered versions for that. The Resurrection Pack, it's going to be in full stereoscopic 3D, and it's going to have some new content on top of all that they didn't really specify. But apparently the 3D for this game, and this game's over 10 years old now, they said it really holds up and looks like the game was originally made with this in mind, so that's cool news. I'm a big Doom fan. I'm hoping that it's not just, a minor HD upgrade, that they actually sort of went over and polished, all of Doom 3. That would be nice, but probably just going to be a little bit of an HD upgrade. So far, Square Enix has sort of bummed me out at this year's E3. They really haven't shown much. They did, however, show a cool tech demo. It was titled Agnes Philosophy, and it's basically supposed to be in the realm or universe of Final Fantasy games. It's not specifically for a new game or anything, but the clip shows spellcasters, and it showed a Bahamut-like dragon, so, it fits into the world. Now, it's very, very beautiful. I mean, looks super detailed. It's the engine that they want to be using basically for next generation consoles and for future projects. So the cool thing is they have a survey set up where if you watch the trailer, They want to know your reaction to it, if this, feeling or the little story that was told in it would fit into like a Final Fantasy game, and they just want to get the fans' opinion, which is really cool. Like I said, though, it is very pretty, at least, and I do think it has a little bit more of like a mature tone to it, just in the look, the way the characters were talking and acting. It wasn't so giddy in your normal JRPG-esque acting. Nintendo released a little bit more information regarding the 20th anniversary collection for Kirby. It's going to be called Kirby's Dream Collection Special Edition. It's going to be coming out in September on the Wii. Unfortunately, they didn't announce any of the actual games that are going to be on it yet. It would make sense that some of them would be some of the titles they released already on the Virtual Console on the Wii, but they didn't say. The fact that it says Special Edition on it would make you think maybe it's going to be coming with a soundtrack or art book or something. Hopefully a little bit better than the Super Mario All-Stars special thing they put together, because that wasn't that fantastic, but we'll have to wait and see. After Sony's press conference, I was kind of bummed, like a lot of people, that they really didn't mention much about the Vita. That's why today, when I found about this new game that I hadn't heard about yet, it made me really happy. It's called Soul Sacrifice. It's going to be a third-person action game. The main premise is to choose to either save or sacrifice the enemies when you defeat them. There's some sorcery in the game. The demo showed the guy basically casting some tendrils or like tentacles into the ground and attacking enemies. Create like a shield at one point. One weird thing that is sort of confusing is while you're using your powers, they kind of wear down. So you have to build them back up by sacrificing. So if you choose to save, how does that really play a part in? And it wasn't really described. So either way, it's right up my alley of weird sci-fi action games. That's what I'm looking for, more unique stuff. So I definitely have an eye out on Soul Sacrifice. Today, during a Q&A session, a couple of the Nintendo guys were asked about the possibility of using two gamepads on the Wii U at the same time. Nothing had been mentioned so far if that was even going to be a possible thing. Their reply basically was, yes, the Wii U can support two gamepads, but there are a ton of technical hurdles. They basically said that even putting the same image on both gamepads at the same time would be a very difficult thing and would impact the performance. Apparently there's so much processing power that the Wii U needs to have just to even transport the images and the content onto one gamepad, that the fact of doing it on two, depending on what you're doing, would really be stressing it out. So it'll be interesting to see if any developers actually even tackle that, and if they do, how much actual content will it be. But either way, that was a big question a lot of people had for a long time, and apparently yes, you can have two gamepads going at one time, possibly. I watched the 1 hour special that Nintendo had tonight on the 3DS on e3.nintendo.com. It was very cool. Now, while they didn't announce any new games during the special, they did highlight a lot about the games they had already talked about. New Super Mario Bros. 2, you'll be able to play the entire campaign co-op with a friend, so two-player through the whole game is really cool. The new Super Mario Bros. That was on the DS, you could not do the campaign multiplayer. They showed a lot about Epic Mickey, Power of Illusion. Phil Spector came out and talked about how the drawing and erasing elements would be heavy in this game, but the little demo they showed looked more like filling in shapes and like more of coloring in on the bottom screen. So maybe the drawing and stuff would be later in the game, but either way, it's still like a fun platformer game. It's its own standalone title that's just going to be on the 3DS. They showed Luigi's Mansion, which is no longer just Luigi's Mansion 2. It's called Dark Moon as the subtitle. There's going to be 3 mansions to explore in it, instead of just like one that was in the original Luigi's Mansion on GameCube. That's going to be out for the holiday season. They did show a lot about Paper Mario Sticker Star. Just all the different stuff you can do with the collecting of the stickers, using them in the battles, using them outside the battles to find special items or secret areas. There was so much that they went in depth, and they played it for like a good 8 to 10 minutes or so, doing a demo and talking through. I love seeing that when the demos are more than just a minute of them basically, running down one little corridor and the same stuff. They really went into depth and they basically taught me how to play that game, so I'm ready to play it once it comes out. Now, my favorite news of the day came after the 3DS special. Some reporters came up to Reggie Fils-Aimé and asked him flat out if Fire Emblem Awakening would be coming to America at all, and he flat out said, yes, it will be. And Treehouse will be doing the porting over for it for an American release. That made me so happy. I know a lot of Nintendo fans have been waiting for any information if that would be coming over, and now, straight from his mouth, yes, that will be coming over. No release date, no time frame, but that doesn't really matter at this point. It has been far too long since we've had a Fire Emblem game here, and I really, really look forward to buying that. Now, my overall thoughts on how each conference went for each company, basically, I thought they all went good. I didn't overly absolutely love any of them, and I didn't hate any of them. I thought they all did, well at really talking about some strong titles. They all at least had some surprises, just not very many, but they all had a few surprises to throw in there. And none of them were like a complete bomb. I mean, each one had their awkward moments like they always do every year, but I was generally happy with all three. I'm looking forward to new games that are exclusives on each system. As for, I guess, maybe who technically had the best, it wasn't any of the three, main console companies. I would say Ubisoft maybe had the best one, just because of how many really strong titles they had, and some really great surprises that they showed exclusively, first at their conference, if those had been shown on the, Nintendo one for the Zombie U, or for Rayman Legends or whatever, maybe then, the Nintendo one would have been even stronger. But, I'm happy all around. So far this year has been very good. One more day left, maybe a few more game announcement surprises, but regardless, I've been happy. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Leave some comments. I've been getting a lot of views, but not much feedback. I want to talk about games and what you liked and didn't like, and thumbs up. So, peace out. Talk to you guys later.